There is a war happening inside your head. Not dramatic, not visible, but constant. Your thoughts don't rest. They don't stand down. They don't wait for danger to appear. They scan, te simulat. They anticipate loss. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because your mind never stopped working. Even in silence, something is running. Even in safety, something is alert. Even in calm moments, your thoughts prepare for impact. Your mind is no longer a tool. It has become a battlefield. Thoughts collide with thoughts. Scenarios, fight scenarios. Your attention is pulled in every direction at once. You replay conversations that already ended. You imagine futures that haven't happened. You punish yourself for mistakes no one remembers, and this feels normal now. You tell yourself this is just stress, just responsibility, just adulthood. But your nervous system disagrees. Your body lives in a permanent state of readiness. Always bracing, always tightening, because your mind learned something dangerous. Threat no longer needs to be real. It only needs to be possible. Bills, expectations, comparison, fear of falling behind, fear of becoming irrelevant, fear of wasting your life. Your body is here, but your mind is constantly somewhere else. Running simulations, preparing defenses. Fighting battles that never fully arrive. This is not intelligence. It's exhaustion. The mind was not designed to operate like this. Originally, it existed to protect you, to react when danger was present, to rest when danger passed. But now, danger never passes because it moved inside. Your thoughts don't stop when the threat is gone, because the threat became abstract, invisible, endless. So the mind stays armed, and slowly, without noticing, it stops working for you. It starts working against you. You don't control your thoughts anymore. They control you. They decide where your attention goes. What you feel, what you fear. You might be sitting still, but internally, everything is moving, racing, colliding, overlapping. This constant internal movement creates friction. Friction creates fatigue. Fatigue creates numbness. You feel it when you try to rest and can't. When silence feels uncomfortable. When stillness feels unsafe. Your mind interprets calm as a threat, because calm means there is no distraction. And without distraction, the war becomes audible. This is not overthinking. This is not weakness. This is mind war. A silent conflict where your own thoughts become the primary source of pressure. And the most dangerous part of this war is that it feels like you. Your mind didn't turn against you by accident. It was trained, conditioned over time, quietly, efficiently. The modern world does not attack you with force. It overwhelms you with signals, notifications, headlines, metrics, comparisons, deadlines that never truly end. Each one is small, harmless on its own, but together they create a constant state of alert. Your mind learned to scan for threats everywhere, not physical threats. Psychological ones, loss of status, loss of relevance, loss of opportunity, loss of control. So it stays awake. Even when nothing is happening, your thoughts keep moving. Because stillness now feels risky. You were trained to associate silence with danger, boredom with waste, calm with falling behind. Your attention is constantly interrupted, pulled outward, split into fragments. Fragmented attention creates fragmented thinking. You rarely finish a thought before another one replaces it. You rarely stay with a feeling long enough to understand it. Your mind jumps from stimulus to stimulus, never settling, never resting. This constant switching exhausts the nervous system. But exhaustion doesn't shut the system down. It keeps it reactive. And reaction is the perfect state for control. When you react, you don't reflect. When you reflect, you don't obey as easily. So the world keeps you reacting. Urgency becomes normal. Anxiety becomes background noise. Overthinking becomes identity. You start believing this is just who you are. An anxious person, a restless mind, someone who can't switch off. But that belief is part of the conditioning. Your mind is not broken. It is overloaded, and overload creates distortion. Thoughts lose proportion. Small problems feel catastrophic. Uncertainty feels unbearable. Your mind fills every empty space with noise because it was trained to believe that emptiness is unsafe. Even rest becomes another task, another thing to optimize, another thing to fail at. So the war continues, not because you choose it, but because your mind learned that vigilance equals survival. This is how the external pressure moves inward. The world no longer needs to chase you. Your thoughts do it for them. This is the core mechanism of mind war. You don't end mind war by thinking harder. That only escalates it. The war does not end with victory. It ends with disengagement. Your mind was never meant to be silenced. It was meant to be observed. The moment you stop obeying every thought, something changes. Not dramatically. Subtly. Thoughts still appear, but they lose authority. You begin to notice the difference between a signal and a command. A thought can exist without being followed. This realization weakens the battlefield. Awareness interrupts the automatic response. An interruption creates space. Space between stimulus and reaction. Space between fear and action. Space between thought and identity. That space is where control returns. You don't need to dominate your mind. You need to stop identifying with everything it produces. Your thoughts are not instructions. They are fragments of old survival mechanisms, still running without supervision. When you stop treating every thought as urgent, the nervous system begins to recalibrate. Breathing slows. Muscles release. Attention stabilizes.com stops feeling dangerous. Stillness stops feeling empty. Silence becomes neutral again. This is not peace as escape. It is peace as clarity. The most dangerous person in mind war is not the one with the strongest thoughts. It is the one who can observe them without reacting automatically. Because control depends on reaction, and reaction depends on identification. When identification dissolves, the war loses fuel. The world still applies pressure. Signals still arrive. Noise still exists. But inside, something changes. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are no longer at war with every thought that appears. Mind war does not end when thoughts disappear. It ends when they stop commanding your behavior. This is not withdrawal from life. It is returning to it, because the moment you step out of the battlefield, your attention becomes yours again. And attention is the real territory this war was always about. Check if you're already subscribed. This channel exists to document the wars happening inside the mind.